The Vortex of Human Life by Katherine Tingley, read by Dave Marsland of Cardiff Theosophical Society. The world is crying out for help, for hope. But this can never come, save from those who know their own natures, who cannot be deceived by the subtle voice of evil, whose lives show forth the guiding presence of the soul in every act and thought, who shed at every moment the blood of their compassion. The heart cry of the world is a prayer to the higher law, a longing for better things. Seeing the misery of the world as I do, and coming in close contact in correspondence with hundreds of despairing souls, I feel the urging of that great heart of humanity to plead with my comrades to make a new effort, and to seek every moment of the day to strengthen that effort by noble deeds and by pure thoughts and actions. If each would do his part in this, all the rest would care for itself. The great whirling vortex of human life holds the mind in a nightmare of delusion. I would not presume to say this were the facts not before me to support it. I need only ask you to look at the world as it is. As a nation, we have reflected our failures as well as our successes upon other nations. America is a great melting pot. It is the schoolhouse of the world. It is the great arena where the mighty problems of the future will be brought for contemplation and discussion. There is in America an aggregation of thought and feeling, the influence of which is potent on many planes. Our limitations are felt in our laws, and therefore our efforts should not be for the hour or the day or the generation. They should be for the ages. I am pleading for the innocent children of our republic. I am pleading in the name of justice and theosophy. I am pleading with the public conscience of America for a more accentuated effort towards new and just laws. Humanity is stifled, and the world held down and back by the psychology of pessimism. So many have no faith in themselves, no faith in each other. Some are pleading for help and light, it is true, for something that can still the craving of the heart, but so many are content with the superficial. And this negative psychology, sweeping in, affects to some degree the minds of all. Even the strongest, the best, find it a constant struggle to live up to their possibilities because of this subtle disintegrative force. Yet to everyone who seriously pushes forward in spite of this, a new door opens with each day, a new cycle, truly a new world. The student has to realize what a potent force is psychology. The whole mass of humanity is a psychological field on inner planes, a vast aggregation of opposing forces, some pushing towards light and harmony, but the great bulk of them against advancement and against the truth. The great onward rush of human effort for better things is intense, very intense, yet so many wander away from the path of light, losing sight of their divinity, the godlike guiding power within. They wander this way and that, searching this way and that, through this book and that, and so on, all along the way. Their faces, their words, their writings tell the story of disillusionment and failure. And the remedy? Does it not lie in the finding of the self? The present is a critical time. And if we are to reach that point at which peace of mind is possible, we must accentuate the divinity of man, and so beautifully, so truly, that the questions of injustice which now cannot be answered will then be explained theosophically. The time is coming, and it is not far distant, when the nations will cry out in their horror of the despotism that is now touching different nations in different ways, through different systems and under different names, for the knowledge that we possess, for the secret that binds us together, for the power that has brought us to a position of unity which the world cannot understand. Under the pressure of all that is happening out in the world, much that is seen now and much that will be seen later in the spirit of unbrotherliness running into insanity and despotism, everywhere despotism, Our vow becomes a beacon light in our hearts, a beacon light in the world. Let us bathe in the spirit of it, illumine our minds by the light of it. Let us fortify ourselves and protest not only against evil in our own natures, but against evil said of another, and the evil doing of those who take the name of truth to cloak their unrighteousness. It matters not how much money we may accumulate, how much scholastic learning we may possess, how many magnificent structures we may erect in the name of civilization, unless we arrive at a better understanding of brotherly toleration, we are working in vain for the future. In our selfish indifference as a people, we are unconsciously taking part in the crimes of the world. We are absolutely factors in these crimes. Only because we have lost the power of spiritual discrimination are we able to view present conditions with equanimity. We have been taught to judge by appearances, to perceive the physical outer man and the brain-mind alone. We have ignored the existence of the inner life, the real self of man, that which looks behind the veils of illusion and sees things as they are. We are arrant cowards if we do not begin to think and work and hope along new lines when the whole world is crying out for help. To reach the truth, there must be in the aspiring mind a certain quality of resolution and determination, and yet the truth is all about us, sweeping as on invisible currents into the very atmosphere in which we live. It is as though brooding over the world in its sorrow were a great urge, a great soulful power, standing between deity and man's endeavour to rise and go unto his own. It is the real intermediator, and one feels its presence when in one's highest mood. One cannot think of the battlefields across the water, the devastated nations, the deserted homes, the neglected, persecuted children, without feeling something of its power. And the question arises, shall mankind go backward, hardened, cynical, sceptical and discouraged, or push forward and upward with these new currents of life? If we fail to understand ourselves, if we fail in our duty to the higher self, we are absolutely out of place in attempting to help others. For how can we help our brothers understandingly unless we understand ourselves? We shall overdo or underdo, or perhaps not do anything at all. Only a few, a very few, are willing to take trouble for humanity, and as long as this is the case, we may expect menacing conditions in our civilization. Many people with splendid possibilities seem to be so near, almost touching in fact, the fringe of the great truth, that they close their eyes to the need. They turn away and walk on satisfied with their own little path, because to do otherwise is too much trouble. Nevertheless, because of the thought and effort of just the few who love humanity, a benediction is certain to come. In time, our thought life will become rarefied. Men's minds will be touched with a new power sprung from the optimism and the hope of the few who defend the truth. We shall look down over the hills and into the valleys and see godlike men and women walking there. We shall feel before long the influence, the mighty overshadowing of a new civilization. In the heart touch is the saving quality which will redeem humanity and bring about universal brotherhood. The word charity should be eliminated. In the name of charity, men and women have been treated like so much personal baggage and labelled accordingly. Out of the great heart of nature all things proceed, and all things lead back there at last. All worlds and systems of worlds, from the great central sun to the smallest particle in space, must thrill responsive to the pulsations of that infinite heart of compassion. The Great Mother reaches forth to receive her own. All efforts to retard are less than insignificant. In every act which partakes of the divine quality of infinite compassion lies concealed the potency of all the spheres. All nature obeys the command of one whose heart beats constantly for others. Infinite patience and infinite love are required in dealing with the weaknesses of humanity. Oh, that love could flow freely through the hearts of all men, uncoloured by personality. Then a new day would dawn, verily.